Hey Shannon, so I wanted to go over one or two of your MyFitnessPal logs. So this is the fun part where it does get a little meticulous with having to log. But if you need a couple days for breaks, then do so. You don't have to log every single day, but I know in the beginning it's better to do it more than not. So I'm really glad that you're actually enjoying logging because it's going to show you so much, and you're going to learn what a lot of your regular foods are consisting of in terms of carbs, fats, and proteins. And then eventually you're going to learn how to reportion some things and swap out some things and for leaner options. So typically people tend to overall in their day, in their week, go over their fats, and they have a hard time hitting protein. And it's because of actual fat dense items like butters, oils, nuts, avocado, cheese. Those are dense fat items, and it's super easy to go over in your fats with those foods because they're such small portions that are calorically and fat dense. So you definitely can consume them, but you just have to make sure you're not eating way more than you should. And then complex carbs are leaner. They are lower sugar, lower fat, and obviously more nutrient dense. So anything that is a whole grain byproduct with being complex carbs are always going to be the best, but we don't always get complex carbs every time we eat something. Like if you had a tortilla shell or a bun that wasn't, or bread that wasn't, or pasta. With pasta, I never eat whole grain pasta. I have regular pasta and I fit it in my carb count. At the end of the day, your carbs, fats, and proteins all register the same in your body with your total. It's just some are more nutrient dense and some aren't. So you're getting the benefits from the more nutrient dense carbs and the more nutrient dense fats. And with proteins, you either have your leaner ones that are lower fat or your higher fat ones. So you can definitely have higher fat meats. A lot of red meats are very healthy. They have a lot of nutritional benefits. It's just the fats in them are typically very high, so we just have to do a smaller portion in order to not go over our fats in our day. Or you could do a lower fat day surrounding that higher fat dinner. Say you had steak, which is super high fat. Say you really wanted a big piece of steak, you could strategically fit that in your day and plan your dinner and just make sure you're not eating a ton of higher fats around that. And I'm pretty sure you've already caught on to that, which is super amazing. That is what I want everybody to realize, that they can fit stuff in their day and they don't really have to cut anything out per se. So let's get into your macro log. All right, so you actually did a really great job. This was from Sunday, I think. And one thing I want to point out at the bottom, so as long as you're getting over 100 grams of protein, always rule of thumb, try to never go below 100. Always at least 100 to 120. Try to hit 120. Obviously your goal is 127. That would be like perfectly phenomenal to hit every day, but sometimes it's hard. And the fact that you got over 100 is awesome. So looking at your carbs and fats, like your totals at the end of the day, and this is assuming that you tracked as accurately as you can. It's never going to be perfect because it's just hard to get everything perfectly accurate with your portions and amounts. But so with your carbs and fats, say you went over your fats and your carbs, that is going to be worse than going over just your fats or just over your carbs. It's actually not a bad thing that you went over your fats because you went under your carbs. So you're still in the calorie range that you should be in, as opposed to going over your fats and carbs. You would have gone over your calories for sure. So if you lowered your carbs for that day, that just means that you have more room to have more fats. And that's kind of what you did. So it worked out in that aspect, which is fine. You know, some people will have a lower carb day and eat higher fats and have their macros set that way, and they're still in the calorie bracket that they need to be in. But I had your carbs up to just about 180, because anything below that is a pretty low carb amount. So I typically don't put anyone lower than that. But that concludes your overall carb count for everything throughout the day, not just your carb dense foods. So everything has carb count in it. You eat peanut butter and it has like 8 grams per serving of carbs. You eat vegetables, it has a carb count serving amount. Everything does. So at the end of the day, you're trying to get around 180 grams of carbs total, and that's, like I said, from everything you ate, not just your carb dense foods. Just same with your protein. Yes, you want to focus on leaner protein dense foods, but you also do get proteins from some complex carbs, and you get proteins from some fats like cheese and nuts. So overall, at the end of the day, those things are all contributing to your protein count too, and along with the other two. With, carbs have some fats in them as well. So like I said, you're not just, these aren't just the totals for protein-dense foods, fat-dense foods, and carb-dense foods. All of those macros have other macros in them as well. So at the end of the day, these are your totals from everything that you ate. So that should be super helpful. When I realized that, I was like, oh yeah, wow, I guess I didn't realize that peanut butter has a carb count, excuse me, in it, and that I wasn't trying to eat just 180 grams in carb dense foods. It was my total at the end of the day with everything. So let's dive into your foods, actually, your food selections. And I'm just going to give you some quick tips on that and then wrap it up. So I noticed that you have some preferred protein bars, and that's totally fine. A lot of protein bars do have higher fats and sugars in them, and actually a lot of them have pretty low protein, which sounds silly because they're a protein bar, but a lot of them do have high sugars and high fats. So definitely, I know Pure Protein and Luna, I think they both have like the chemical sweeteners in them. If they don't irritate your stomach or make you bloated, then it's fine to consume them. But especially ones like the Pure Protein bar, like those actually hurt my stomach, and it's because of the chemical, artificial sweeteners and stuff in them, and the sugar alcohols. So if they're low sugar or no sugar protein bars, or any food item that's no sugar, it usually has sugar alcohols in them, or the artificial sweeteners, and those can really, especially the sugar alcohols, those can really hurt somebody's stomach and cause a lot of bloating. So if those don't irritate your stomach, then keep consuming them if you really like them. But okay, it's also a good way to get a little like snack in that tastes sweet and almost like a guilty snack, but it's not. But some protein bars can be higher fat and higher sugar, and you might as well just not even eat it at all, because the protein is not worth it if you're getting the other stuff in it as well. So, okay, so pepperoni is higher in fats because it's like a sausage meat. Maybe try turkey pepperoni. Or if you fit those in your day just fine, then that's awesome. So, ranch dressing. There are a few brands of ranch dressing that aren't bad. Some of them taste like crap, but I will send over those ones for you to try. But ranch dressing is kind of high in fats, or you can make your own out of plain yogurt and the seasonings that go in it. And I always put some lemon juice in it as well, and I think it's so good. I actually really like the taste of it. Here you go. So that's just a tip. If you feel like, oh, I didn't want to have ranch dressing, but I really like it, then maybe you can make a thing of it at the beginning of the week and put it in your fridge and just keep eating it and using it whenever you want to. Okay, so let me look at ideal fit. Yeah, so with having so many protein bars in one day, it could actually end up making you bloat and giving you some extra sugars or fats that you didn't want. But I think the ones that you're eating are pretty low fat and low sugar. But I know it's hard to get in enough protein, so we're going to focus on some other options that are higher in protein. Like the packets of tuna are small, but they're really high in protein. Super high in protein, which is just an easy way to just sneak it in and get in like 20 grams of protein or something. They're super high in protein. So you'll start to realize some more ways to get in some leaner protein that's more healthy. But overall, super great job. I hope this helped. And each week you'll gain more and more from these macro assessments with the tips and information that I say during the assessment. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to send over a few of the salad dressing selections and some more protein bar recommendations and some more leaner protein options. So that'll be super good for you. Overall, great job so far. You're catching on to so much, and I'm glad you're enjoying tracking. Like I said, if you have any questions, just let me know.